Welcome to podcast number 15 of our AI-generated news summary. Let's dive into the summaries of our top stories. Our next story is titled, "Is Microsoft about to jump on the Bitcoin train?" Microsoft will give shareholders a vote on investing in itcoin on December 10, 2024, with the board recommending against the motion. Microsoft plans to give its investors a vote on whether or not the company should start investing in the currency. Bitcoin is an industry-leading cryptocurrency whose scarcity is artificially perpetuated by processing heavy math calculations. Bitcoin hit a new high of $73,000 per coin earlier in the year and has maintained a steady rate ever since. Microsoft wouldn't be the first traditional company to jump on the Bitcoin train, though. Tesla lost over $100 million playing around with the currency in 2022 and has sold billions of dollars worth of its crypto holdings over the past year, much of which was seized from criminals and the like. Be sure you're only investing as much as you'd be willing to lose, though. And don't invest more than you can afford to lose in the first place. Microsoft's board of directors is advising shareholders not to vote in favor of the investment. The company is reportedly recommending shareholders vote against the proposal. The proposal is expected to be voted on at a special meeting of shareholders on Tuesday. Our next story is titled, "A Declaration of War." Fed and ECB plot to tax or ban Bitcoin and use price gains to escape $35.7 trillion doom loop. The Bitcoin price has soared back toward its all-time high of just over $70,000 per Bitcoin. The Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank have each published papers attacking Bitcoin. Danish politicians have proposed taxing unrealized Bitcoin and crypto gains. The capital gains tax on Bitcoin to 42% from 26% has been proposed. The U.S. national debt is expected to reach $36 trillion by the end of 2024. The debt is being fueled by a huge increase in interest rates, which will push up prices. The ECB paper warns that continued Bitcoin price appreciation could divide society. The paper calls for government action that would prevent Bitcoin prices from rising or to see Bitcoin disappear altogether. The paper's authors wrote Bitcoin creates a balanced budget trap that highlights spending shortfalls. The Eurozone paper warns the price appreciation of Bitcoin could divide society and lead to a mixed message for the public about the value of the currency. It also warns that the price of Bitcoin and similar assets could be taxed or banned. Our next story is titled, "Trump-Harris Odds and Betting Interest Soars as 2024 U.S. Presidential Election Nears." The 2024 U.S. presidential election is less than 2 weeks away. Former Republican President Donald Trump is gaining more traction and interest as the steaming favorite. Leading Panama-based betting site betonline.ag also accepts cryptocurrencies and has embraced Bitcoin as a secure and convenient payment method. On August 1, some $446 million had been wagered on Polymarket on the outcome of the presidential election. That number has since soared to $2.4 billion. A French national is behind 4 of the 5 biggest Polymarket bettors on a Trump victory next month. LL Office moves into the late rounds of the election as the race for the White House moves into its final stages. The election will be held on November 5, 2024, with Hillary Clinton as the Democratic presidential nominee and Donald Trump as the Republican candidate for president. The race is expected to go down to the final day of the campaign on November 4, with the winner to be announced on November 5. Our next story is titled, "The popular $100,000 year-end goal for Bitcoin has less than 10% probability in options market." Crypto investor Griffin Ardern says there is scope for a 22% price swing in either direction by the end of December. Current market implied volatility of BTC at the money options expiring on Dec. 27 is 54%. He says, a Harris or Trump victory is not fully priced in and crypto investors need to be ready for a lot of volatility either way, says Alexander Bloom, CEO of the SEC-registered Digital Assets Advisory 2 Prime. A call option confers the right to buy, representing a bullish bet, while a put protects against downside price swings. Deribit's Bitcoin Implied Volatility Index, DVOL, remains locked between the 3-month range of 50% to 60%. The greater the volatility, the higher the odds of Bitcoin hitting certain levels. According to the options market's volatility index, the options market assigns a low probability of such a surge materializing. He says, with a 54% chance of it materializing in the next 3 months. Our next story is titled, Pennsylvania House of Representatives passes crypto bill to bring regulatory clarity. Report. House Bill 2481, also known as the Bitcoin Rights Bill, received overwhelming support, with 176 votes in favor and 26 against. The bill addresses key areas such as residents' rights to self-custody digital assets and use of Bitcoin as a payment method. SAF has been involved in similar legislative efforts in 20 other states. Law already enacted in Oklahoma, Louisiana, Montana, and Arkansas. Our next story is titled, Savers or Losers. Robert Kiyosaki warned that millions of 401(k)s and IRAs will be toast. Here's his advice for older Americans who want to protect their wealth. Robert Kiyosaki is spreading the word that many of his previous financial predictions are, sadly, coming true. Bitcoin recently surpassed $73,000. Setting a new all-time high before retreating to its current price of just over $68,000 as of October 24. A gold IRA combines the tax advantages of an IRA with the inflation-resistant properties of gold. American Hartford Gold offers direct purchases of precious metals and coins. With its own wallet service, you can store hundreds of different cryptocurrencies securely. Lock in juicy quarterly income through this $1 billion private real estate fund. Even if you're not a millionaire. Financial advisor matching service that can help you connect with FINRA, SEC accredited financial advisors close to you. With over $269 billion in safeguarded assets and 245,000 partners in 100 countries, Coinbase is a trusted name in the crypto space. When the virtual currency was testing $30,000 in October, Kiyosaki predicted it would reach $135,000. Our next story is titled, First Mover Americas. Bitcoin falls back below $68,000. Still outperforms broader market. Bitcoin traded between $67,500 to $67,900 during the European morning. BTC remains over 1.2% higher in the last 24 hours. The broader digital asset market, as measured by the CoinDesk 20 index, has risen just under 0.8%. Microsoft is looking into using Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. The tech giant is also considering using the currency as a way to raise money for shareholders. Crypto assets underlying funds issued by ETF providers 3iQ, Purpose Investments and Evolve end up in sub-custody arrangements and held by blue-chip U.S. exchanges. We have billions worth of retail assets in Canada's crypto ETFs that sit in the United States. Bordianu said in an interview with Cointelegraph.co.uk. For confidential support, call the Samaritans in the UK on 08457 90 9090. Visit a local Samaritans branch or see www.samaritans.org for details. In the U.S., Call the National Suicide Prevention Line on 1-800-273-8255. Our next story is titled, MicroStrategy touches new highs as trading volume relative to Nvidia surges. MSTR has surged over 240% this year, with prices doubling to $236 in the past 5 weeks alone. The rally has MSTR closing in on a market cap of $50 billion, barely 1.5% of NVIDIA's $3.44 trillion. MSTR has outperformed NVIDIA's 192% surge by a big margin. Since MSTR adopted Bitcoin as a treasury asset in August 2020, the gap has grown even bigger. According to the MSTR tracker, the NAV premium currently sits at almost 3. Our next story is titled, Stock Market Today. Indexes rise but S&P 500 on track to snap 6-week win streak as yields spike. U.S. stocks were up on Friday but headed for a weekly loss, with major averages on track to snap a 6-week streak of gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose for the first time this week, while the S&P 500 inched higher. A similarly hot number would likely temper rate cut expectations further. September's data showed a stunning 254,000 jobs were added in the month. Our next story is titled, Bitcoin liquidity could flow to Cardano ecosystem with new BTC bridge. Bitcoin Rollup Protocol Bitcoin OS said its Grail bridge was going live for the Cardano network on Thursday. Cardano will be among ecosystem buildings developing tools and services to attract BTC capital and vice versa. Send ADA tokens to the Bitcoin network. A ZKP-based bridge, in theory, cuts down on those security fears. ADA was exchanging hands at 34 cents, down 2.5% in the past 24 hours. That concludes our AI-generated news summary for today. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.